I'm on the Mac.
Okay, so compared to me, you have like things that I can't even afford to buy, like this piano and 2 computers, and like, because I live in an area that is under legal sanctions, and if you read like the history of Crimea and Ukraine, like, and about this Crimean War that happened in 19th century, it was the war between Russia and England and France and Italy. So so Britain and its allies, they united against Russia because I don't know, they thought that Russia would go to India, and so if you, I don't know if you heard, like, for instance, 2 Russian people, one of them is Victor But, he sold weapons to different countries. He was arrested in USA, but this is what was a political like arrest, and it was actually not very objective because USA sells weapons to many countries as well.
Right.
And the other girl, her name is Maria Butina. She was mixing with the people from National Rifle Association, and she was also arrested, like, because they said that she didn't register herself as a foreign agent. Like, like there is some law that says that if you are, I don't know the name of this law in USA, but if you like mix with some organizations, political, and you are from another country, you have to register as a foreign agent. So I think you understand that it's unfair when people from Middle East and Africa, like these countries like Syria, Libya, they were bombed by USA and their allies. Now migrants from these countries, they come to Europe. And at the same time, people from Europe say that these migrants are so bad, they smell bad, they are uneducated, they are violent, they bring diseases. But the solution to this is to not bomb these countries and to not steal their resources. For instance, Libya, if you read about Libya, Gaddafi, he was a very good leader, and he and his country had a lot of water, and he was going to introduce a currency like golden dinar, and he was also financing the election campaign of Sarkozy. And as far as I can tell, Sarkozy didn't want to pay his debt to Gaddafi, and so they bombed his country in 2011. And so I don't like, oh, you're frozen. Oh, you can hear me, okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So I want to help people, but so for instance, I don't know if you visited Ukraine before the war, I mean, like before 2013, you would see that it's like a big.
Move your screen. I can only see half your face. Good. Okay, now we're cooking.
So if you could visit it, you could see that it's a big country, and it's like the biggest country of Europe. It is safe. It has beautiful architecture, beautiful people, and Ukraine has very good soil. And now American companies like Monsanto and others, they want to privatize this country and its soil. And now there is a civil war in Ukraine because actually an American director, his name is Oliver Stone, he made 2 movies about Ukraine and what is going on there. You can watch these movies online. I think it's the movie, the first one is called Ukraine in Fire. So, mm, so actually, USA, they're funding like this fascist regime in Ukraine, and this fascist ideology and this Ukrainian nationalists, they are like Nazis, and they killed their own people. Like, and Ukrainian language, it's just a Polonized Russian, and so it's all just. And this is a very big conflict in the middle of Ukraine, and there are a lot of Europe. I mean, the conflict in Ukraine, and a lot of people from Ukraine, they go anywhere. They go to Poland, to Italy, to Czech Republic. I don't know. Some go to Germany, and so this is just one of the places of instability that Europe created for itself. It already has like this war in Afghanistan and in the Middle East, and now in Ukraine. And it's all very stupid, because people like so. For instance, if you look at this singer Hathaway, it's interesting. If you, I don't know if you read German press, but as far as I can understand, Germany is sick with three things, like Russophobia, because they say like bad things about Russia, Judophobia, there are a lot of people that attack Jewish, like how it's called, churches, Judophobia and Islamophobia. So they like, and I have an acquaintance from Germany, but he's from Iran originally, and he says his name is Kivan. So he says that a lot of German people, like, they are unfriendly to him because they think that he's a Muslim. Yes, he's from Iran, but he is not like, he doesn't like his the religion, the Islam, and so I'm interested in people like Hathaway that manage to become like successful and that overcome this like prejudice and that come from different parts of the world.
Right.
Gala, for instance, she was born in Italy, but she moved to New York when she was 16. She said that she studied first in Boston and then in New York in the Tisch School of Arts. You know this school, Tisch School, it's called. So her website says that she's a prolific photographer, but it has like, I don't know, less than 10 pictures she took. And she also likes to go to Senegal. I don't know why she likes Senegal. And she likes to, she says that she likes Senegal dances. You can watch on her Twitter how she dances in Senegal. And she also went to Tanzania. And to Dubai. Oh, and like she's, I don't know if it's like, there's like a video of her where she dances in France on a like television program, and she has this like, I don't know if the singers are from Africa, but they're like in traditional like African costumes. I don't know from where exactly they are, and they like, and she dances bare feet. It's interesting.
Well, that's good.
So, so you don't believe in God?
I didn't say I didn't believe in God. I every week in the church playing organ in the house of God.
You see, but so it's like a Catholic church, right?
Yes.
So too many people go to this church.
It depends on any, you know, of course, now nobody goes to church because all the churches have been closed because of the virus. But, you know, different days. You can have 300. Other, Easter we might have had 1,000, but there's not going to be any Easter this year. So,
So, are most of your students like German people?
Say that again.
So, so do you teach your students to play piano?
No, not at the gymnasium, no.
So you said
the gymnasium is very academic, so they have to learn composition, they have to learn theory, they have to learn history of music. Their practical part, that they do with a private teacher. I do the in-school part.
Say again, I didn't understand.
So in a gymnasium, when you study music, you must study the history of music, you must study theory, you must compose. It's academic work. The practical part, they have to have a private teacher outside of school who deals with that. I deal with the academic part.
But do you compose your own music?
No.
Because I'm someone who's interested in like creation and in new things, and if you read Gala, like Gala's biography on Wikipedia, she said she worked with, I think, several Italian opera. She either wrote libretto or did something else. So at the very end of the article, it says what she did with opera. So you just but do you have like modern artists that you like in USA or in Canada? I don't know.
Not particularly.
Oh, you asked me what politics has to do. Like, for instance, if you take Canadian modern artists, like in pop genre, I don't like Weekend and others. A lot of them, this music industry is quite satanic, and I can send you videos about that because they use satanic symbology, like inverted crosses, devil horns, like this, and they have like their music has negative message, destructive message for the youth and for like Billie Eilish from USA. She also has this quite dark imagery. If you watch her videos, I don't know what's the genre she's doing. I don't know. It's a mix of pop. And there was a particular artist I liked. His name is Lil Peep, and his real birth name is Gustav R.
Oh.
A-H-R. He was from USA, and I don't know how to describe his music. It's quite dark and like, I don't know. You speak English better than me. You can listen to his music and tell me and describe it. So he died, I think, from overdose. He took drugs and he had this 666 on his clothing, and and then he was very young. I think like 22 or something. And it's this, and actually many people believe that these talented musicians, they are sacrificed, like, or they themselves have to sacrifice someone from their relatives, or like for instance, Gala, she has do I bore you? Because Gala, for instance, she said that she made a contract with a UK company, and this company has copyrights to all of her music, and she says she doesn't have any control of her own music. Like, but I don't understand. She says they forged her signature, but I find it strange that she never gave the name of this company. It was 20 years ago when she first released her first album in 1997. I don't understand why she didn't find a lawyer and why she doesn't tell the name of this company. And how come if she wrote all the lyrics and music, how come she doesn't have the copyright to this music? I just don't get it, how it can be.
Well, good lawyer is important.
But so I will send, I don't know if you have time to listen to this, but I will send you like the link to her first album. It's called Come Into My Life. And the first like song is called Free From Desire. It's like her hit song. The other hit song is called Let a Boy Cry. I think it's about homosexual relationship. And the third hit is called, yes, Come into My Life. And I also don't understand why she is single, because she's like quite attractive and she's quite photogenic, and for instance, she made like a music video a long time ago when a black man gives her flowers.
Yeah.
And like in modern culture, like black men often are portrayed as like how it's called, savage and violent, and in this video it's like it's the concept of the video is unusual, because she walks like, I think she walks on a street. And this video was never released, and it was, I think, never finished. And she gives flowers to this man, to this young black man. So you like, did you pay much for this Juilliard school? Did you get scholarship?
Well, I got scholarships, but it's still an expensive school.
So how many years ago did you graduate?
How many years ago? I graduated, let me think, 1990. Well, I was 24 when I came out of there, so 20 years ago. 22 years ago.
So, but how you got into music? You just felt like it's your talent, or someone taught you from childhood?
I was forced to take piano lessons, and I became very good at it.
Take what?
Piano lessons.
Ah, okay. But I don't understand why you don't make your own music.
Well, organists, we do. We improvise in the cathedral all the time, but I just don't write it down, because in organ music, we do it on the spot, but we don't write it down.
So you say you're single just because like you can find someone like you, or what? Or well, you don't need...
I think you can see from our Skype conversation, I'm not the easiest person.
I just I just don't understand, like, what do you mean easiest? Like,
Well, because, you know, I am a particular type of person. I need a certain type of intellect around me. Otherwise, I get very frustrated with people.
certain white type of what?
A certain type of mind.
What kind of mind?
Very intellectual.
And you think there are not enough like intellectual people on this planet or in Europe? There are plenty of like interesting and unconventional.
You know, it's a case of meeting them.
Oh, I don't know. So what kind of person do you want? I don't know.
Hold it. Now, just a minute. Let me put this up big for you. I don't know if you can hear it on this computer. I don't know if you can see that. But see, on this organ, I am improvising. That means I'm just playing no music in front of me. I'm making it up on the spot. But this is what we do during a service. So during this, the people are going to communion down below in the church. And I'm just making this up. That's, you know, organists, we do that all the time, but we just don't write it down because that takes a lot of time. I'm too lazy to write music down on paper. So we just do it, forget about it.
So you speak German?
Yes.
Do you like the language?
Love it. I learned it in university in Montreal 20 years ago.
I don't think there is a problem of finding and meeting smart people. Like, I can see like a lot of interesting people on Facebook, and there are a lot of interesting groups. Like, for instance, like, do you know what like the truth movement is?
No, and I hate belonging to movements and groups. I despise movements and groups.
Okay, it's just a way to name something for the lack of other words. Like, many people believe that the event of 9/11 in New York was a ritual sacrifice, and it was planned many years before it happened, and it was done by CIA in order to start a war in Afghanistan and Iraq.
You know, on 9/11, I was in New York because I lived in New York for 12 years, so I know all about 9/11. And that very afternoon, very evening, I was down at Ground Zero. So, you know, I was there. But, you know, many people have theories and things, but, you know, 9/11 is finished, and to keep bringing it up to me, you know, solves nothing. So, you know, you speak about Facebook. I find that most people on Facebook are not very smart, and I don't find it a very smart way for people to communicate. So I just don't. You know, I was on it, but then I left it. So, you know, I can find lots of smart people every place, but just be, you know, but artistic people were a very different type of people. So you ask me what type of woman I like. I like a woman who's extremely intelligent, you know, and does things that most other people don't do. And, you know, we have to have a meeting of the minds type thing.
But I am quite intelligent, and I live in a quite different, like, hard place. And I use Facebook to try to connect with people. And these people, they don't understand how hard it is to connect with anyone from a place that is under sanctions. For instance, from Crimea, you cannot access a lot of sites, like American sites, because you are blocked. You can't, for instance, a site called Upwork for freelancers, I can't access it, and other sites. And I'm trying to make friends with people on Facebook, but a lot of them are rude to me and say disgusting things. And like when a man sends his dick pic to a woman, like without even telling his name, like his age or his occupation, it's stupid and rude. Like one American man did this, and then he blocked me. And this is like one British man, young British man, he called me as a prostitute and a peasant. And I don't know what he has against peasants because they grow food, and what he has against prostitutes because prostitutes are used by men that can't build a relationship with women. It's like I have a contact on Facebook, a man from USA. His name is Gerard Daly, and he created an organization. He gave the I forgot the country. So he's helping little children in an African country. I forgot the name of the country. I think it's Kenya. Okay. So he gave the school of orphans. Okay, I can give you the link if you want to see it later. So it's just like, for instance, I met, like, I like came into contact with a man from Russian Cupid. But this, for instance, he's Russian and he's looking for a Russian woman in USA, but he can find this woman for free on Facebook because there are a lot of groups created by Russian people that are looking for Russian people in USA. And Russian Cupid, like, you can be a free member, but you have to pay $35 a month. So just because he doesn't want to use Facebook, he's paying for this Australian site that doesn't even respect Russian women. Because, as I told you, they don't show my real location and they don't recognize Crimea as part of Russia.
Right.
And I think that at least this strange man, Larry from Washington, D.C., that called me a slut and a witch and a homosexual man, I think they are not on this side to find women. They are there to abuse women. And like, I don't get it.
Well, you know, that's life. And like I'm saying, different cultures are different cultures. And you know, you have to realize.
You see, it's not culture. When you abuse someone who, like my situation with this Larry, Afro-American man, he's 72 and he wants to have children. And I asked him, how are you going to have children in your age? And are you able to support them, like morally, financially, and in terms of your health? Because the bigger the age difference is between you and your child, the worse it is for both of you, because you have too much like difference, difference. You can't even, because you have like, the bigger the age difference, the harder it is for people to understand each other.
Yeah.
And especially if you have a first child when you're 72, like. And about politics, I told you that this 9/11 thing, it was a way to introduce more strict laws that would control people, their speech, their movement, their right to have weapons, and in order to introduce what it's called, the so-called Patriot Act, and to start wars on Afghanistan and Iraq. And do you understand what the New World Order is? It's
Yeah, yes, but my point is that, if you go on a dating site and you sit and talk about this, I
I
mean,
don't. I tried to explain to you. For instance, I can't even if a man expects a Russian woman, for instance, from Ukraine and or Crimea to fly to him, and he's afraid of being scammed, that means he's uneducated and he doesn't understand what's going on.
well, actually, no. And see, this is what you must understand, that actually there's a lot of that going on. And so if a man responds that way, he's actually quite smart. And so I'm saying that you need to understand from where you are in Crimea, your experience is very different from someone sitting in the United States. And I'm telling you right now, there are thousands and thousands of Russian women and women from all parts of Eastern Europe who go to America and scam people. It doesn't mean that you're going to scam someone, but his reaction would be totally normal. And, but no, you don't understand because you've never lived outside of your little radius.
I studied in USA and I'm a globally minded person. I'm quite objective.
Have you been to the United States?
Yes.
For how long?
1 semester.
Well, that hardly can do. 1 semester where?
In Oregon.
Yeah, well, see, the Europeans I meet who go to America for even 1 year and live in one city, doesn't really tell you much about a large country like America.
Listen, I don't need to live in USA to understand very well what is going on there. And I can see...
Sorry, that's totally untrue. People say nonsense like that. And so it's like, you can send me articles, but articles are not a real thing. And so when someone says to me, oh, I don't need to go there to really understand it, I would say that's the most idiotic, stupid thing I've ever heard in my life.
Listen, the articles I gave you are written by professional journalists and people that understand what political science is. And that
But I'm saying a political side doesn't, reading all about a famous person doesn't really tell me what that person was like. As a classical musician, I can read all about Bach or Beethoven or Mozart, but that doesn't tell me what it's like to meet him. At university, many people would come up to me and they'd talk to me, and then they'd find out who I was, and they had this whole story about what people told them. So I'm just saying to you, I can totally understand this American person. And then, but I'm saying, but the other thing is, on a dating site, if you're getting into all this heavy stuff, I can see why
listen, you contradict yourself. This is not heavy stuff. You say you love intellectual people. What I'm trying to explain to these people is that they cannot build a relationship with a Russian woman unless they speak Russian and understand Russian culture.
I agree, but that's for them. But, when you came on Skype to me, you're going about me learning Russian. I didn't say I didn't say I want any relationship with anybody. I was just answering to this name that said hello, and I'm saying, who is this? So I'm saying, those are the types of issues you must consider. And then you must consider, I understand that where you live, you have all types of hardships, things you cannot do, places you cannot go, websites you cannot access. But to me, sitting here in Europe, it's like, oh, okay, but to understand that, what does that have to do with the person in America or Europe who has all types of freedoms?
What freedoms are you talking about? You're not objective. Are you trying to provoke me?
No, I'm trying to say that I understand you said that in Crimea, there are certain websites you cannot access.
But it has nothing to do with me. It has to do with the limited fascist nature of USA.
Right. I don't disagree, but I'm saying, but to the American sitting in America who can access any website he wants.
This is not true. You cannot access a lot of documents because they're classified. But
I'm saying the average American doesn't even care. They don't care. They just want to access Facebook. They want to access their porn site.
This is not what you are saying. Is not true.
They want to access their dating site. They want to, and the rest of the stuff they just don't care. And I'm saying, you know, if you're going on a dating site to find a man, you know, if you want to try and straighten them out and show the how unfair the world is, they could
Listen, you don't understand who I am. I understand that the world is unfair, but you don't understand that everyone is connected and everything is connected. These men on these sites, on this, for instance, Russian Cupid, they are totally insane and they are abusive and they are not serious and they're not responsible.
Yeah,
They do not understand.
I'm sure that's true, but like, so what?
Well, the bad things need to be changed, because if a man wants to find a Russian woman, yet he doesn't understand what life is like in this area in general, and he doesn't.
Yes, but Polina, on a dating site, the only woman you care about is you. So if the man can't access you, go to find another man. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's like when you wrote to me on Skype, I'm saying, like, I don't need to learn Russian. I didn't ask you for anything. You know, and if you don't like me, talk to someone else. Right?
But why are you being so rude and inquisitive? Like I told you, I'm interested in other people and cultures. And like Russian music, classical music, it's quite big and good. And if you speak Russian, you can understand the people that wrote this music and what they were telling in their operas.
And you know what? If I don't understand Russian, I can still listen to the Tchaikovsky symphony because it has no speaking. And if I don't understand Eugene Onegin Russian, I'll listen to something in German or French or Italian or English. I'm saying, well, like you seem to be so, oh, you got to understand the Russian woman. No, I don't. You know, if I don't speak Russian, I'll speak to that woman. German, French. Oh, I don't speak Italian. I'll speak to the English-speaking woman. I mean, but you understand my point. To people like us who have this huge wealth of whatever, we just say, if you ain't it, I just go to the next one. You know, when I go to look at a computer, if I can't buy that one, I look at the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And I don't spend my time crying about what I cannot have. And yes, we are all connected, but if someone does not want to connect with me,
listen, I'm talking to you about men that are looking specifically for Russian women, yet they are on a specific site, not just any site, like German women, Asian, Black, African, like Pacific, they are on a specific site called RussianCupid.com.
Yeah.
That means they have to understand Russian culture and language, because if they come to Moscow and most people in Russia, they don't speak English, or they can be scammed because they don't understand what their taxi driver says, or like because they don't understand the situation in general. And if a man on this site on Russian Cupid calls me a slut, a witch, and a homosexual man, that means he's a piece of trash. He's an abuser. He's a sex offender.
I don't disagree with any of that, but I'm saying, you know, if a person does this, go to another person, go to another man. There must be other men.
But do you believe, listen, do you believe in evil and good? If someone abuses a woman just for no reason, he should account for his words, especially if he's 72. And not just, even teenagers should account for their words and actions. This is called abuse.
Yeah, okay, but I'm saying, if someone abuses you on a dating site, just block them and go on to the next person. And, you know, if you find that all the men on the dating site are like that, go to a different dating site.
Listen, I can go to as many sites and I always get the same reaction. The problem is not in me. The problem is in Western men. They are immature, irresponsible, and abusive. If I could show you these messages, I will show you every night.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And so what do you plan to do about it? But why are you telling me this? I mean, this has nothing to do.
Listen, you can't change.
Huh?
You said, but you're. Okay, you said you want a smart woman, but you just contradict yourself. How can you have a smart woman if you don't respect her, for instance? Even if you said, And if you can't stand up for her.
Yeah.
And how do you define a smart woman?
Yeah, well, that's a very good question, because to me, smart means different things. To different people means different things. To different people, intellectual means different things. I mean, you know, I'm someone who's lived in 7 countries, gone to Ivy League universities, has a PhD, have 7 degrees behind my name. So to me, that's a very different definition than other people, you know, and, you know, I don't judge a person just by that. It's also their personality. And, you know, if someone's so aggressive trying to convince me about how disgusting Western men are and about how the world is so connected, I'm just like, yeah, whatever, next.
Why do you not care about such things? So, for instance, you stumble across on a street with a migrant or refugee from Africa that is hungry and angry because his country was bombed and his family was killed, and you look healthy and you wear good clothing compared to him, let's say, and he comes to you and he says, okay, brother, we are both black. Can you help me? Can you buy me food and water? And what will you say to him? And if you say no, he can stab you and you will not care.
Polina, giving him food and water is a lot different from now becoming his friend and spending a lot of time with him. You know, I mean, there are also women who are in the same position, and I could give them food and water. It doesn't mean I want to date them. You know, even walking down the street here in the town that I live in Germany, sunny out there, you know, I can go on the shopping market and meet women and talk to them. Doesn't mean I want anything more to do with them. Doesn't mean they want anything to do with me. And so I'm saying that, you know, you are a very educated, very well-read woman. But, you know, on a dating site, this is a bit intense for a guy. You know, there's one guy.
This is not intense. Do you understand what differs a man from a woman? A man is someone who can take pressure, who knows how to lead, how to overcome obstacles, how to take responsibility. And you say, I put too much pressure on them. This is bullshit. I'm just being a common sense person.
Polina, you are videotaping this conversation, and I hope that one day you will show it to somebody, because, you know, I'm just sitting here listening to this because as a teacher, I listen to kids all day who are, you know, and all this, I must tell you, very angry energy is coming through the screen here. And I'm just saying that a woman who behaves like this on a dating site, a man is
I'm not angry. Listen, you don't understand logic.
Well,
USA, I told you, American men, they destroyed Ukraine and they have sanctions on Crimea. Yes. If they want to have a woman from Russia or Ukraine, they have to understand its culture. I'm not angry. I'm a common sense person. I stand for social justice and common sense.
Maybe you are too much for them. Maybe they did not understand the depth of the problems in Crimea and the Ukraine. And boy, they got a real lesson from you that they just weren't ready for. So, you know, that's how it goes, right? So, tell me this. On the dating site, did you find any men that you think you might like to have gotten to know better?
Say again?
On the dating site that you were using, were there any men that you think you might like to meet or get to know better?
Yes, I messaged some men, and I asked them direct question, are you ready to come to me? And many of them said no, and to many of them I gave them my phone number so that could reach me on WhatsApp, but they didn't even say thank you. They just blocked me.
Yes,
because they are that.
Yeah, but Polina, I've got to tell you, if you think that a man is going to come all the way from the United States to your part of the world.
But this is how it works. It's called international dating.
Yeah, that's how it works for you. You know, when I lived in New York, they used to have companies that did this, where men flew to Russia and they'd meet all these women. I remember seeing something on YouTube about this. you know, but for a man from America, you know, it's a lot easier if both can come to Europe somewhere and meet in the middle. But for a man
But
to go
you see, you don't
anyway,
understand.
Polina. The point of the matter is, it's not happening. And so I would just say to you, trying to convince me of how fair these other men have been, really, you know, I'm saying, like, what do you want me to do about this? Because it's got nothing to do with me. And
Okay, you can, for instance, register Russian Cupid. It is free. And you can message, for instance, this Larry guy that called me a slut and witch and homosexual man. And you can just ask him, why did you do that? And why did you block her?
yeah.
And why are you so mean?
Well, I'm not going to ask him anything.
Okay.
I'm just writing to one of my students here. Keep talking. What was, oh, only 10 minutes. Keep talking. I'm just writing to my students because we have to do everything online now.
I just don't like your strange worldview that you don't want to stand up for good things and that you're just like a moral relativist and that you don't understand how things are connected.
No, I understand how things are connected, but, you know, I cannot save the world. I'm not here to save the world. I care about the connectedness of things that are important to me. And so, you know, I'm not on a website looking for a Russian woman in particular. So, you know, the plight of the Russian woman is just not that important. I mean, I hate to tell you, it's just not that important to me. I know there are horrible things happening in Crimea, but, you know, to someone sitting here in Germany, it's just like, whatever. Can you understand that? You know, just like what's going on here where I live in Germany, some bad thing to someone in Crimea, it's totally irrelevant to you. And so I'm saying that everyone, yes, when I can talk to her, but, you know, I'm saying that these things are just irrelevant.